Hello, my name's Daniel Metra. Welcome to the video. So here you can see I've got 6 Thomas engines in both the Adventures range and the Take and Play range. Take and Play range has been discontinued now. But anyway, I got all these from Toys R Us from sale. Obviously, as you know, Toys R Us unfortunately is closing down. And the Toys R Us in Northampton, the big one I went to where I got these from, you may have seen on my channel that I've done a video previously about it. However, on this occasion I went and got these, and I didn't actually have a camera with me. But when I went to the Toys R Us, I had a look around, and there was some more Thomas engines, not necessarily all in the Thomas aisle, but scattered around the store. So like I said, I got myself these. And when I went that time before, you probably saw in that video that I got a few other ones, a Hurricane Stephen in the Adventures range, and a Chuggington one called Cormac. But like I said, yeah, these are the ones I got this time round. So first off, got Ashima, who was in the Great Race. And when I was there was actually a few of this left. But my only sort of thoughts for that reason being is that Ashima's only appeared so far in the special The Great Race, so maybe not that popular with people. And also, I mean, obviously I do my model railway shows, and when I did my show recently at the Wellingborough Museum, I had a mum ask me about the Flying Scotsman, asking me what episodes of Thomas the Tank Engine it had been in. And I told her about the film The Great Race, and she hadn't even heard of the special The Great Race, and she wasn't the only one. There was a few other people that hadn't heard of it, so they said they were all going to go away and look for The Great Race for their children, so they could actually see the Flying Scotsman in the film, because they actually liked the Thomas one. And although they all knew it was the Thomas Flying Scotsman mainly because it had its name on the side, they weren't that aware of the film really. So I mean, when you see lots of that one left on the shelf, and some of the others really that aren't that popular, I mean as well, so I got Class 40, and I have this model in the diecast range, the ERTL range. And I prefer it in that because I think it's a lot more detailed, and obviously the size is a lot better and the right amount of wheels. And this one hasn't got the right amount of wheels, but on the actual body, the detail's all there. And what I like about this one as well is they've actually painted the buffers, whereas on say most of the Take and Play ones, they never have painted the buffers. But like I said, they have on this one and done a really good job. And again, Class 40 isn't probably that popular with children, which is probably why, again, when I went in there was about 9 of this left on the shelf. No one else had brought one, because people don't know who Class 40 is. Obviously I do, because when I was younger, he was in the TV series in 2 episodes. Obviously one of them was the background, and then he's appeared in magazine stories. So people of my sort of generation would know who he is, but then younger people wouldn't know who he was. So therefore, not many people are going to buy a character that they don't know about, if you know what I mean. But like I said, I brought this one because I do like Class 40, the diesel. And it was reduced, so I didn't actually pay that price for it. And again, this whole Take and Play packaging, what I like is the little pictures you get. So yeah, that was Class 40. Another one that I got. Next off, we've got Racing Axel. Again, lots of different languages. And Axel was introduced in the Great Race. And again, this looks just like Axel, and I think they've done a good job. Again, they haven't painted the buffers on it, whereas obviously on the Class 40 one that I just showed you in the corner there, they did paint the buffers on. And they've got all the colours right on Axel, and I like that little bit of detail there with the piston and that. But again, the wheel arrangement's wrong. It looks nothing like Axel's wheel arrangement in the film The Great Race. But as he was on the international engines and sort of a one-off sort of character, I thought to myself, you know, I'd like to get it. So that's Axel. The next one I got here is Hugo. Now Hugo's, you know, is the rail zeppelin, and this is the new Thomas current range called the Adventures range. And this took over from Take and Play. As I said, Take and Play, which is what all the other ones are, is now discontinued, and this is the new one. And Hugo doesn't have any couplings, but that's not criticism. That's obviously good, because the real Hugo rail zeppelins didn't have couplings because they don't pull trucks and coaches. And again, I really like this model of Hugo, although it's sort of small and compact and not as big as Hugo was. Again, the TV series, you know, all the details there. Also got a propeller on the back there, again, like Hugo did. You know, so I really liked Hugo as a character. Like I said, and I think these new Adventures ones are really nice. They're almost the equivalent of what the old ERTL diecast Thomas ones were. My only criticism would be the wheels. The wheels are black here, whereas Hugo's wheels are actually blue. And when Hugo first arrived, he surprised a lot of engines because of how loud and fast he was. Obviously his propeller literally blowing them away, almost. And I really like the face. Again, it looks just like Hugo's face. And again, the packaging is quite nice as well on these ones. So yeah, that was Hugo. The next one I got in the Toys R Us sale was Vinnie, also known as Racing Vinnie, even though Vinnie wasn't actually one of the characters racing. Now, I like the face on Vinnie. It looks just like his face again in the series, in the film. I say Vinnie was only in the film The Great Race. One thing that this model's missing though is his nameplate and number, again, which are in the film, as you can see here. Also, I mean, the wheels are the wrong colour. I don't think it doesn't 100% look like what he did like again in the film The Great Race, which was CGI animated. But again, he was a one-off character, and one again that I didn't have, so I decided to buy one that I quite fancied having, so I brought this one. So at least I've got Vinnie in one of the ranges. I mean, he was also in the wooden range, but that has been discontinued. And I think Vinnie was my favourite looking engine in the Great Race. And also over his face, this model doesn't do it, but as you can see there, he has like metal bars, a bit like an American baseball helmet, sort of over his face. When Vinnie first came, to my knowledge, his name was supposed to originally be Big Bully, but then they decided not to call him Big Bully, which you can sort of understand why. You can't really have a character called Big Bully in a film, really. Although he does get called a Big Bully by the others, sort of thing. But Vinnie's not a bad name, I don't think. And again, when I was in Toys R Us, when I had a look round both the really big one and also the small one, which was at the Weston Favell Centre, there was quite a few characters on the shelves still from the Great Race. So again, people probably didn't know of these characters as much as ones like Thomas and Percy and that, all the sort of common ones, because these characters, like I said, have only really appeared once. Although obviously Axel and that did appear on the online videos as well. But yeah, I can see sort of maybe why they haven't sold as well, because people don't know who they are. You know, so maybe people aren't going to buy characters they don't sort of know about really. Whereas Hugo made quite a few appearances, so people would know who he was, if you know what I mean. The last one I got here is Yong, which again was one of the characters, another one of the characters in the Great Race. I really like the tiger. I think it is on the the tiger on the tender. Again, this engine's Chinese, and it looks just like Yong does it in the film The Great Race, which is CGI animated. And saying it's got a lot of detail on this one, and I really like this one. I think out of all the models that I've got here in the Take and Play range, I think it's definitely one of my favourite ones, along with Class 40, who I said was also quite well detailed. So yeah, obviously I'm going to keep hold of these, and like I said, I got these from Toys R Us when obviously in the closing down sale, and it is really sad to see it go. Another thing you may have heard as well is on the 22nd of March, Charles Lazarus, who was the founder of Toys R Us, died. But you know, he was 94, which was a good age. And again, it's really sad that he's died, and quite ironic timing, really. But I was talking to someone at work about it being quite sort of ironic how he's died, and obviously the fact the business is going as well. But we said it's a bit like Father Ted. Obviously, Father Ted was a show that I liked, and the actor Dermot Morgan died straight after filming, and he died on the 28th of February. And then a couple of years ago, Frank Kelly, who played Father Jack in Father Ted, died also on the 28th of February, but in a different year. So they both died on the 28th of February, which is a coincidence. And a lot of people think that Father Ted ended because Dermot Morgan died, but the producers actually wanted to end the show because they didn't want it to get sort of old hat, get too repetitive or boring, or find that when they're writing other series they repeat themselves, so they decided to end it anyway. But then, like I said, Morgan unfortunately passed away afterwards. And also the same with Nelson Mandela. He died when the premiere preview of the film about him was in London. In London, I think it was. Yeah, London. That was it. But I think one thing that people miss about Toys R Us, from what I've seen online, is going to be Geoffrey the Giraffe. And I certainly remember the 1990s Geoffrey, because it has changed appearance quite a bit. Like I said, it is a shame to see Toys R Us going, but it is a sign of the times, unfortunately. It's not the only business that's struggling. But, you know, it's nice that I've brought many things from Toys R Us over the years, and I can look back and sort of smile. And I've got many fond memories of the Northampton one, I say, because it's been a big part of my life. And obviously now it's appeared on my YouTube channel as well, you know, before it's closed. So that's sort of special to me in a way. And obviously, like I said, please watch my video on the big Toys R Us and also the small one at Weston Favell that I did, if you haven't. You know, I've had quite a few views and comments on them videos and likes as well. And it is quite touching, really, and I'm quite surprised at how well, obviously for me, that they've done. So thank you very much. So I'm now home from Leicester today, and say there wasn't a huge selection in that store. The store was a lot bigger than the one at the Weston Favell Centre, but it was smaller than the big toy store that I went to in Northampton. Like I said, there wasn't much of a selection, but I got this Merlin. Now, Merlin, as you know, was introduced in the film Journey Beyond Sodor. I'm sure you'd agree this is a more or less a near perfect model of Merlin. Absolutely fantastic detail. And it's made of metal as well, which is what's stated at the top there. Just focus it. Yeah, metal engine. And then it's got Merlin, the Invisble there. And obviously, if you haven't watched the film, Merlin thinks that he's invisible. Basically, he's got 3 funnels, and that makes his smoke and steam disperse to make him, well, it's to make him look invisible. But it was an experiment gone wrong. So although he thinks he's invisible, he's not actually invisible. But yeah, there's a little price tag on it there. But yeah, I got this one. I'm very pleased with that. And I also got a Bag for Life, a Thomas the Tank Engine one. And yeah, so yeah, I've got many things over the years from Toys R Us, and it is going to be a real shame to see it go. Yeah, but like I said, yeah, Merlin was my favourite character in Journey Beyond Sodor. In a way, I wish he'd got more airtime, because out of all the characters that appeared, obviously the new ones, I think he probably appeared the least. And it was a bit like Reg in the film Tale of the Brave, but then obviously Reg has gone to make other appearances in the show, so with a bit of luck, maybe Merlin will get to appear more and more and more. I don't know, we'll just have to wait and see what the future holds. But yeah, thank you very much for watching this video, and goodbye.